Okay. So it's really lovely to have Aunty Dinnawhan here. We met her at the Ecotherapy Connection at Nell's place at the lovely Roseburn Refuge in May, and so happy that she can be here tonight to have a little talk to us. So Aunty Dinnawhan, would you like to
Sure.
Take it from here and give us a connection to country?
Okay. So what I'd like to start with first is an acknowledgement to the elders, to those that have passed before us. So if you're on the phone, I'm going to put the phone down on the computer here so that I can do this with you. And I've got my chapsticks here, but I'm just going to leave them on a minute. They're wrapped up in emu skin. So, and we'll go into that a little bit later. So just bring your hands and put them on your heart space. When you're ready, close your eyes and just take a nice big deep breath in, into your heart space and out. And again. One more. So in this space, as we have our hands on our heart space, I'd like to acknowledge, honour and pay deep respect to all those that have passed before us in the dreaming, and those that could be our grandparents, the lineage of our grandparents, our mothers, our fathers, brothers or sisters and cousins and aunties and uncles, friends and acquaintances, pets and all of nature, because we're all one. So I'd like to acknowledge, honour and pay deep respect to each and every one of them, and I thank them so deeply, very graciously, very grateful for all that they contributed to this space-time reality when they were living and walking with us, for everything that they've contributed as family members, as friends, as acquaintances, in whatever role that they participated in when they were here. So I'd like to do 1 minute silence, please. And in that 1 minute silence, just take your space and keep breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth, and just remember, bring back the memory, and in your heart space, just feel the love that's there for those that's in the dreaming. And that includes in the dreaming all the newborns that come in, and sometimes they just don't want to hang around. It's just coming for the experience and for all, and then they leave. Thank you. So you can keep your hands there if you like. I'd like to now just bring us into, people call it a welcome to country. I feel that that's very in the square, it's government or organisations. So I call it a connection to country. And with the connection to country, it's acknowledging everything. So I'm going to start by acknowledging, honouring. Let me get my clapsticks. Eh? I think we've got to do this proper way. So this is my emu skin. So when I do business, I always have my skin with me so that you know my skin. So I'll let you know who I am after. So I want to acknowledge, honour and pay deep respect to the spirit of Mother Earth. All the rock beings, the stone beings, crystal beings, the crystalline core of Mother Earth, all the sand beings, all the hills and the mountains and the custodians of, all the tree beings, all the plant beings, all the hairy ones, in some countries they call them, and when I say country, in places in land known as Australia, called the dulligas, the hairy ones. Acknowledging all the elementals, the fairies, the nature spirits, the ancestral nature spirits. Every insect and every animal and every living woman, man and child and all other beings, all of love and light that live in the ground, on the ground, in the trees, in the waterways, and in the sky, and all our sentient bodies. To the spirit of Mother Earth, good afternoon. We love you and we thank you. And we acknowledge your lineage, your knowledge, your wisdom, your medicine, your memory, for holding space and your beauty. Thank you. We want to acknowledge, honour and pay deep respect to the spirit of the wind, the air in all directions. Keep in mind that the air, the wind carries the information that's held in consciousness. So everything is consciousness, everything's energy. And the ethers. So we acknowledge the wind and the wind spirits in all directions, as above, so below, as below, so above. Good afternoon to the wind and the wind spirits, and we love you, thank you. And we acknowledge your lineage, your knowledge, your wisdom, your medicine, for holding space in your beauty. Thank you. We acknowledge, honour and pay deep respect to all the ancient waters that run deep in the spirit of Mother Earth and all the ancient water spirits. We acknowledge all the waters on the surface of the earth, the salt water, the fresh water, and all the water spirits. And good afternoon to the water and the water spirits. And we love you. Thank you. And we acknowledge your lineage and your knowledge and your wisdom and your medicine and your memory and for holding space and your beauty. Thank you. We acknowledge, honour and pay deep respect to all the ancient fires that did burn, that are burning, and that will burn. We acknowledge everything that creates those fires and everything that the fire creates. The coals, the ash, the smoke, the flames, and the fire spirits. And good afternoon. We love you too. We acknowledge your lineage, your knowledge, your wisdom, and your medicine, and your memory, and for holding space and your beauty. Thank you. We acknowledge, honour and pay deep respect to Creator and all of Creator's laws, the divine and natural law that's here in the spirit of Mother Earth, and the sky laws. We acknowledge our culture laws in the sky, our grandmother and grandfather laws, and our skin laws. We acknowledge Creator as the source of all being, of all creation, all of nature. The source of all our love, feelings of love and light and peace, order and harmony and balance, faith and trust. The creation of all the colours within nature, all the beings, seen and unseen, including us. We acknowledge all the stars and the planets and all those that live in the stars and the planets, and we thank you. So we acknowledge, honour and pay deep respect to all the ancestors and elders past, present and emerging on the country that I'm on, which is Yinabara country, the country that my lineage is from, which is the Waka Waka and Kabi Kabi country. I'll always acknowledge my son's country, for his father's side, which is the Wiradjuri, and my other boys is Torres Strait. I acknowledge, honour and pay deep respect to the country that each and every one of you are on, the lineage of your songlines, and acknowledging, honour and paying respect to the ancestors and elders past, present and emerging of all nations across our beautiful planet, as well as in this country which I call Terra Australis, also known as Australia. So that's what I call a deep connection to country. So my name's Dinnawhan, and it's Dinnawhan. I'm going to bring this forward a little bit. And Dinnawhan means emu, and it's a language name that was given to me by a friend from Western Australia, mind you, because we were walking in the Sovereign Way at that time. And it was a walk that I was doing, and I got guided by the old people, the grandmothers. And it means emu in Glenorie language. And the skin that I have here, can you see it? This way. So that's the skins that I wrap my chapsticks in, and that's the emu skin. Whenever I do business, I lay the skins out. I've got a goanna skin, kangaroo skin, and a possum skin as well. So I want to just have a yarn to you about. So let me tell you. Sorry. So my mother is original from this country known as, well, this country, Carbine Waka. I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. And then my father's non-Indigenous. So his lineage is England, and I've got Viking lineage in there as well, although that doesn't come out real strong. So my mother's father is a Waka Waka man from Cherbourg, and that's and our mob is the Bly mob, and any song lines that indirectly or directly stem from that. And my mother's mother is Gamilaroi. So I am Waka Waka and Kabi Kabi, but I live on Yinabara country or Jinnabara country. And it's important that we acknowledge who we are on country. And I've noticed that each and every one of you, and Karen, thank you, because it would have been Karen that would have advised you to say where you're from, because I can see you. Somebody's on Yinabara. Who's on Yinabara? Where are you, Catherine, on Yinabara country? Where are you, bub?
In Peachester.
Oh, I'm up in Mullaney.
Ah, just up the road. Yeah.
Just up the road. And then we got Bundjalung. So it's not Bundjalung, it's Bundjalung, or actually Bundalang. But you say the O. So English, excuse me, our language in English, as opposed to the original language, has different sounds, and we've only got certain letters. So even though you got Bundjalung, we say Bundjalung there, Shamila, it's Bundjalung. Bundjalung. So it's a O. The U is an O, Bundjalung. And then, sorry?
Oh, sorry, I was just practicing. Bunjalung.
Bundjalung. Yeah, that's how you say it. But the language down there, I don't want to upset it, because they've got it's actually Bangjalang, something like that they've got. I know that through, I got an elder in the, up in the Angleball country there. So, and then Larrakee's all the way up there. And whereabouts are you from, Shani?
I'm in Gumbaynggirr country, but I moved here from Plaston, so I used to be up around your way.
So all that area up there now is Yinabara country. And Catherine, I can't see because my photo's covering Catherine, so I can't see what country she's on there. But I'm really pleased for Karen, because when the business that you're doing here, oh no, Catherine, there, you're up the top there. So because when particularly with the business that you fellas are studying with, which is ecotherapy, which is amazing what Kieran's put together, it's country, and there's a divine and natural law that exists in country, and that law exists within all of us. So I'm going to come back first and foremost to the circle, and we call the circle in Kabi country, we say it's our Dieu, D-H-U-R. So I'm going to say to you, and I probably So I'm going to say to you, Nara, Wunya, Nullum, to Yinabara and Kabi, Dagun. So that means hello, welcome everyone to Yinabara and Kabi and Darug, where all yous are from there. Jagun is country, land or place. And in Bundalang country, for the Nyangaba mob, they say Jagun too, but it's a Jugan. So there's a difference in how we pronounce it. And it's really important for us to know law on country when you're doing this eco business, because everything is law. And I spoke to you about the grandmothers and the grandfathers. So Dinnawhan, if you look up into the sky in the dark of the moon, so that's a complete waxed, and before the it's a complete waning before the waxing starts. So it's the dark of the moon. And you look up and you see the Milky Way. And in the Milky Way, you'll see the emu. Have you all seen that? Yeah. So in the emu, I'm going to just put this there because I need to put my hair up. I'm hot. The emu has got a different name in the sky. And it's important to comprehend all of that, because when you do an ecotherapy, you're having that connection to everything, and it's nature. So you've got to know all your country. But up there, when that old fella there, and as it starts waxing, when the new moon comes out, what as above, so below, as below, so above. So when that emu starts fading or something starts moving in the shape of the emu up there, you look out and you look down the bottom, and particularly in Glenorie country, it's time for those eggs to be laid. And then you'll keep looking up there as the moon's starting to wax. So throughout that whole time, the emus start hatching, and it reverses the role from the female to the male. Now, it's important to know that, because you've got to know what country that happens on. And it's the same with you fellas on whatever country that you're on, because everything's all connected in. And that tells you which trees or which bush tucker trees are in flower, which plants are around for the food for animals. So we'll come back to the circle. DHUR is what we say for the circle in Kabi country. And in Kabi country, it's important that when we have a circle, and I know that because when I was with Karen at, where were we, Karen? At Sister Girl there. I can't hear you, darling. Your mic's off. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Sorry, I had trouble. And I'm having a bit of trouble with the tech issue. Aunty Dinnawhan, I'll answer you quick. If anyone can let anyone in the waiting room, I just can't seem to do it at the moment. If anyone can do it, please do it, because I can't seem to do it. Aunty Dinnawhan, we were at Nell's place at Roseburn, just up the road from you.
She's at Peachester. She's just up the road from one of your students.
Yeah. Yeah, Catherine was there too.
Oh, there now.
Yeah, you've met before.
Face to face. Been a while. So it's important. Catherine would have heard this a little bit. It's important that we know the country that we're living on to start with. It's always, if you've moved to that country, it's very, very important to know the country that you come from. And when I say that, I say, get to know the trees, the bush tucker that's on that country. Get to know, if you could, the soil that's in that country. So it's going to be different from freshwater to saltwater. The soil's going to be different because the trees are different, the medicine's different. So get to know the medicine, the trees, get to know the animals that are on that country, and get to know the waters that run through that country, and then get to know the mob. It's important for you to do that, because then you have that connection to country, that deep connection to country. And when you connect in with certain trees, because there's elder trees around on country as well that hold all the knowledge and the wisdom of every other tree that's there. And when you can do that on that country, and you are going to move from one country to another, and when I say country to country, say you come from Bundalang country or Darug country, and you're coming up here to Kabi country or Yinabara country, then you got to ask permission, and then get to know the country that you're coming to. The same thing, get to know what waters they are, get to know the headwaters, just the waters that run through, get to know the land, get to know the trees and the bush tucker, the bush medicine, get to know the animals, and then the mob on country. Now, when you do that, when you connect in deeply with country, country's got your back. Country has your back. Animals have got your back. So they'll guide you. And if there's anything around, so the business that you're doing with this course that you're doing with Karen, Ecotherapy, it runs deep. Now, that circle we were talking about, we call it up here. Well, we call it a dir, but in the dir, or the dir, because it's round, there's a continuous flow that happens, and it's called a mimbori, both in Yinabara language and Kabi language. It's called a mimbori, and a mimbori is a continuous flow. So there's a difference because that flows within our cells. That flow is the law. It's in the nucleus and everything that we are made up of and everything that the trees are made up of. So when we comprehend that and have that deep connection to that, then you'll really get it. You'll really get how close we really are, because we're really no different to a tree. And you know that because if you have a look at a tree, tree's got the same, the rings when you cut the tree got the same as the fingerprint that we have. So there's no difference. So when we connect in, it's really, to the waters, to everything that I said there, to the waters, to the fire, to the air, to the wind, and to the spirit of Mother Earth and the rock beings and everything around you. They're going to tell you things. They're going to tell you everything about country. And that's where we have, and we've not earned, but we have that deep respect, that honouring, that knowingness, and through that experience comes the wisdom, through the knowledge of all of that, and in that carries that respect. You can't go wrong with respect. So with respect, doesn't matter, you can have the dark shadows, the wrong way people. Respect will open doors for you. So I'm going to give you an example of something, of a deep connection to country that I had. So I used to live and caretake, and I was on the board, which is really sort of out of order for me a little bit because I walk sovereign, so I'm part of the sovereign Kabi. It's the original bloodline of the Kabi sovereign Dieu circle, elders circle, and I've walked like that for a little bit now, and they've trained us to believe that the square, which is the corporate world, where their law is made up and they change it, and it's the beginning of an end and the beginning and an end and the beginning and an end and the beginning and an end. So the square is all that, and they have laws that they make up. So it's completely different to our divine and natural law and creator's law. So I'm staying at Nungina. So Nungina means mother. What is Nungina? I think it's Mother Earth. So that's at the Glasshouse Mountains, and it's on Yinabara country, since Yinabara has come into play 2011, I think, for native title, which is something I don't follow because it's part of the square, but I acknowledge country there. So that's Nabang Wangali Biwa or Yanan Wangali Biwa. So Nungina, where I stayed, was a Aboriginal Corporation for Women's Business property that had a house on it and lots of bush tuck and trees. And we were just near, very close to a mountain, Mother Mountain. So Nabang means mother, Wangali Mount Biwa, Mother Mount Biwa. And she has a very sacred journey with a lot of women and men. People climb it, wrong way business, and a lot of people, guarantee, a lot of people when I was there, helicopters coming every day. People died, people get stuck up there. So at Nungina, and I was on the board, and one of the members, and bless her, she's passed now, was a family member to me, and they got in the Rule 5. We needed to burn country. We needed to get rid of a lot of the grass. But instead of going TO way, like traditional, not TO, traditional custodian way, or the way that we do cool burning, in that way, when you do the cool burning, you don't burn the bark of the trees, and it does it. And when you do the cool burning, you go into a conscious communication with the animals and the trees. I mean, they already know, but you have that communication with them to let them know, you know, we're going to do a burning soon. You need to get out of the way. So up there you got koalas, you got red-tailed black cockatoos, you got all the king parrots, you got all sorts of birds and all sorts of animals, goannas, kangaroos and big buck kangaroos, and you've got possums and all sorts of stuff. It's a harder soil up there, but lots of bush tucker grow. Anyway, I went away for the weekend and I knew that we were getting, anyway, I came back and they ended up getting Beerburrum, 5 people in. And they, oh, gee, I tell you, it was an experience for me because I'd already had a connection to country there. Go to bed, good night, country, wake up, good morning, country, and planned a lot of bush tucker. And the Friday before I went away, we had the Barung Land Care and their mob come up and we planted about $800 worth of bush tucker that needed to be planted. And no good, these fellas come in. Now, I wasn't sure whether I come in on the Friday, and I thought, all right, well, if they come, I can't remember if I knew they were coming, to be perfectly honest, but they came because the gates were locked. I came home, I was away Friday, Saturday, came back Sunday with a friend. These fellas had come in, the rural fire service, and the whole place, when I come in, was lit up. And I was so, livid because it was black everywhere. There was smoke everywhere. The bark and the trees was was burning all the way up the trees, and the bush tucker that we'd planted, you know, copped a lot of heat. So a lot of them died. We only planted them on the Friday, and I was livid and I was so cranky, and I rang up the board and blasted them. And then because the gates were locked, the fire people ended up just breaking through it. So, you know, gee, I tell you, I was so cranky. So I went down and seen the people in charge down the bottom, and then they drove over our sacred ceremonial ground. On top of this, the fire engine place, fire people, and they had to. We were next door. So the whole of Nungina, down that area, because it's the Glasshouse Mountains, we had National Park next to us. So anyway, amidst all of that, nighttime came. I had to come back and I had to go back to my life there in that house with all that burning. I was in tears. I rang up Victor Stephenson, who does fire stick burning, and had a good old yarn to him and cried. And he just said, you know what, Dinnawhan, he said, country's right. He said, it's wrong way that it's done, but she'll come back, you know. But still, you know, it was wrong way burning because a lot of the trees that had bark, it got burnt. There was a tree that was hollow but still alive down the bottom, and it was lit up like a candle inside. It was all burning inside. I was so devastated and upset and just cried. I was so sad for all of it. So what I'm getting at is that then I organised. I thought, all right, we got to replant. We got to regenerate. I organised. This was through COVID, during the COVID period. I got 2 days. I put it out there and I got people to come. We had 30 people one day, and we had about 29 the next day. People just came. It was lovely. And I was connected into a lot of people too. And they brought a lot of plants and bush tucker. So we regenerated. And that was probably about a week or two after, because we had to let things settle down. But prior to that, there was a fireplace there. So when I talk about the circle, I sat in the circle around the fireplace that we had there. That was just out the front of the house. And I was there by myself too. So we used to have dingoes and everything there. And I'd sit there and I'd go, oh my God. And while I was sitting there and in contemplation in the stillness of my thoughts, which is what they call Miriam, I can't remember her last name, bless her, Daddiri, or English call it Daddiri, which is deep listening. So I was doing that around the fire because I know that the old people are there too, you know, and all the trees, and they felt me and I felt them. And I remember looking at the trees and I'm going, oh my God, you know, they need water. It's been so dry. There's been no rain. How can we? So that's where the idea came to regenerate. But in the middle of that deep listening, the trees spoke to me and they said, it's okay. We can regrow our bark and we get the water through the mycelium deep under the ground. Now, you know about the mycelium because the mycelium connect everything up and it feeds nutrition and supports all of that from the base until the rain comes. And the rain will come. The rain did come eventually. So that's that connection to country that I just wanted to share with you because it's really important to know that and to be still in that dadiri or daddiri, deep listening, because country will always have your back. And that's what Victor said, you know, it's upsetting what they've done and it's wrong way business because when these real five people come, it's about fueling. They fueled the whole thing. So there's fuel and really, really hot heat coming out of those hose guns type thing, what they use. Whereas when we do it, we're gentle on the ground. We let the animals know, the trees are aware, and we do a little bit at a time. And none of the trees get hurt. And then there's white smoke that comes from proper way burning that goes all the way up to the leaves, not the dark yuck smoke. And when it goes up to the leaves, some of them leaves, they dance because they enjoy and they need that smoke for whatever reason. And the same with, with the old grains that are left in the soil. So it's the same with when you're doing deep fuel burning, you're losing a lot of that. You're losing a lot of it's that hot that it'll go deep down in the ground for about an inch of heat. It'll kill things that deep, probably deeper. Whereas the cool burning just burns what needs to be burned and it burns itself out. But there's a ceremony, there's a sacred ceremony that's involved with that. And that's the same with you fellas when you're connecting with ecotherapy on every level. You know, it's that connection through your soul and your spirit and doing all that business. The other example I want to say is that when you're going from one country to another, so I was traveling from Northern Rivers to back this way or even going that way. And I always do my conscious communication, talk to the ancestors, let them know I'm coming. They know me now, so I don't need to connect in that deep way, but I just let them know, am I all right to go this time? And then I'll listen. And then if I'm going, I'll go. And you're sitting on 110, sometimes 120, wrong way, but 110, 110, cruising down the highway or whichever way you go. I go through the back way sometimes, but you can still sit on 100 and then back roads you can sit on 110, 120. And then birds or the trees, you just know, you just watch. And then birds will sometimes come down and they'll dive at you in front of the windscreen while you're sitting at that speed. And you know that they know it's a welcome to let you know they got your back. So it's really important to have the knowingness of the country that you're on, the country that you're going to. It's law. It all stems back from Creator. It all stems back to Creator's law. And we all got, wherever you're from, whether you're original or non-original, and you've got another country across the sea, we're all connected in through our culture from that country. But on a deeper aspect of it, our song lines and our bloodline stem from that, but our spirit stems from Creator. So our souls are all straight from that Creator. And so it's the same with all them trees and the plants and all of the elements. So when I do the connection to country, that's what I do. And sometimes I'll smoke it. Sometimes, in Yinabara country here, they don't do the smoking. An old elder said to me, we use the water. So I don't know. Do you fellas know what you do in your country there?
Yeah,
Bundjalung.
Larrakia country, it's a salt water, and
Yep.
they put salt water, and you put your sweat into the water, and
Yep.
your sweat in the water is checking in that, hey, I'm here on country, and then you're putting water on head and heart.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's beautiful. So Larrakia country, do you know Juma up that way? Uncle Juma? No? All good.
Well, not by that name, but maybe.
Yeah. Well, actually, I don't even know if he lives. He's Larrakia though.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple of Larrakia. Yeah, there's a couple of people that I know of that country. Thank you, darling. So when you go to a country, so where was I now? Wudjal. So that's up near the rain, what do you call it? You know, up in Cairns, and you go further up the Cairns, so and you go across the water, and Wudjal there. There's the Daintree, but Wudjal's deep in the Daintree, and it's all original country there. They don't, when they do their smoking, they do a smoking, but they use the, is it the xanthia? What's that? Blackboy tree? So they use the trunk of that. And I tell you, I went for a walk we got Balumba Creek down here. It's a crystal clear water hole out near past Conondale, between Conondale and Kenilworth, and goes in, crystal clear. And the minerals that's in that water creates all the different colours in the stones. So it's important to notice that. And there's gold country down there too. So I went for a walk with some people that I was caretaking their country that lived out there. They had a fair bit of country. They come back from Woodford. And I said, yeah, I'll go. And it was an overcast day, and it was sprinkling, drizzling down a little bit. And we went up and went for a walk because we had rain. There was fire through the country there prior to that. And I seen some of the xanthias, the black boys, but the trunk of it, I thought, I'll grab it because it was charcoal. And, you can have charcoal. Hey, you eat charcoal, good for your teeth. And so I grabbed some of that charcoal, and I just started I tell you what, it was the tastiest bit of trunk from a little tree. So yummy. But Wudjal, they burn that, and that's their smoking. So in each country, that's something for you to get to know too, because everything's different. Anybody got any questions? I'm really pleased. I've got to say, I'm very impressed that you got up where you're from. That's good business. So Kieran's on Darug country, and I've got, I haven't put you in contact with her yet, Kieran, have I? It's Buru. Did I put you in contact with Buru?
No, and I don't know that name, but I know of some of the Darug elders, and I know I went to uni with one of them, Aunty Jacinda Tobin, but
yes.
I don't know, you know her?
Yes, I've met her once, but Jacinta walks with Buru, and Buru does, yeah. So she's so that's good. No, that's good. That's good. So whenever you talk to her again, or if you see her again, and if just say Dinnawhan mentioned Buru, and Buru and I walked with Lois Cook there now. Shamila, do you know Lois?
I know of her, but I'm not, yeah.
Yeah. So she's up there. She lives at Wardell, but she a Nyangabal elder. So she represented the Seven Sisters, but she represented Mount Wollumben there, and then I represented this country here in Queensland with the in our walk I'm getting at, and the Glasshouse Mountains. We had and Buru represented the Blue Mountains, because the sunlight. Does Darug go? That's Darug's up there too.
Darug goes to the Blue Mountains, so there is that sort of boundary. It goes up into the lower Blue Mountains, sure.
Yeah. Well, she represented Parramatta, or Parramatta, all of that country around there, and all of Darug country because she's Darug. And then we had Jinky, who represented Western Australia, and we say from the beginning. So the Altaringa. Now the Altaringa is at Lamington National Park. There's a waterfall there called the Altaringa. There's people that live down the bottom. Now that's the beginning, or it's the beginning of the creation of the ancestors. That's what Altaringa means. And so what I felt through this, and this is my interpretation, and we also had a senior law woman, bless her. She's in the dreaming now. She passed over in June, end of June. Didn't have the funeral until the end of August, and that was at Amata, South Australia, but it was just under the Northern Territory border. So we were myself and Lois there, Nyangable Elder, and another lady who all walked together with Napananka. So my skin name's Napananka. Got that to doing law business up there at Burulula. And so this old girl, she was a senior law woman from Uluru there, Muti. And she walked with us when we were living on Laos's country there between between two little, not Ballina, I think it's Lennox Heads, or I can't remember. Anyway, we were there for a while and there was a lot of business that was there. And so what I say, we go, the Aotearoa is the beginning. It's a creation. This is stories from this way. The creation of the ancestors. Aotearoa goes through to Jukapa, and Jukapa is Central Desert. That's a law place. That's everything. That's all in one. Jukapa Taringa, and that goes Western Australia. So we'd say the beginning, which holds the law, and we go into deeper law in the Jukapa in Central Desert, and then we carry that, and you let go of so we let go of the Aotearoa. We'll just go Aotearoa, Jukapa, Jukapa, Aotearoa, Jukapa, Taringa, Aotearoa, Jukapa, Jukapa, Taringa, and it's go from first light to last light. Because, okay, I'm going to ask you fellas now. Bunjalang, don't say anything. Where's the first light? When the sun rises, where does it hit in the land known as Terra Australis first? Who knows? You got your mic off, Emily. Larakia. Anyone know?
Is it Wollumbin?
Wollumbin.
Yeah. Yes, right up the top. But the very first, when the light hits, it hits Aotearoa.
Yes.
So it's important for you folks to know that too, because that's got the sun is important, because when you get up for sunrise, that's when you start business. Sunset, no more talk about business. And I'm watching that out there too. But I'm talking this way business. You fellas have got different things. So Aotearoa, sunrise at Mount Wollumbin. There's another name for that one too. I haven't got that other spirit name for Mount Wollumbin, or Wollumbini, because there's male and female. Now, where does it, so then it goes straight through to Jukapa country, which is what beautiful big old mountains there in that Central Desert. So you got Mount Wollumbin, you're going straight across from Aotearoa, Jukapa. Where's Jukapa? What word is Jukapa? Where's that related to? What's in Central Desert there? What's that big mountain? Uluru. So that's Jukapa. The language comes from there, around that area, Uluru. And that's where that old girl comes from, Napanaka. And then it's set in Western Australia. So we had Jinky. She was from Broome and Beagle Bay. So she spoke the language fluently. So did Napanaka. I'm getting it here. I'm learning, getting trained up with Gamilaroi and some of the language here. But we got to remember that the language, and I want to say something else to you fellas now too. And Kieran, this is important, but it's important for mob to remember this too, but it's important for you fellas if you're going to do ecotherapy. English is a bastard language, correct?
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Right. And it's a spelly, it's got spells in it. So there's no frequency, there's no deep essence in it that has a connection to our soul in that language, because it was created for the planet. But every country within its culture, because we say country creates our environment. Country creates our environment. So country creates our environment. Lost what I was going to talk about now, because you know why I lost it? Because I had this thought, blackfella, you never get a blackfella to get to the point, because they got to tell a big story before they get to that point.
And Auntie, could I give you a couple more minutes to sort of
Yep.
round this up so that we can get finished
Going
in
in
time?
Yeah, sure. So there's another thing I want to say with that language, and this is important for all ears. If you can get to know some of your language on country, but say it properly, not the English way, if you can get to know it a little bit, you'll get a deeper connection, because country will respond on a deeper level to language on that country. So Larrakia language, Bundjalung country, Yinabara country, Kabi country. Country will respond because it remembers that language, because we all carry the seed of our grandmothers, and in that seed, male or female, has the frequency, the essence of that old language, the old ancient language. And that's what country remembers. So I'm going to leave you on that note. How's that? All good?
Oh, that's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful, Aunty Dinnawhan. Thank you so much. How do I say thank you in Yinabara or Kabi language or Gamilaroi?
Well, there's so Naya. No, hang on. There's none. I've been looking for that here, but Gamilaroi language is Gaba Ninda. Gaba Ninda. So you say Gaba.
Ninda.
Yeah. So I'll say. So I'm good to leave though, when we finish this, Kieran. Or do you want me to hang through? It's up to you.
No, it's up to you, Aunty Dinnawhan. It's up to you completely. But we are Gaba Nanda.
No.
Ninda.
So it's Gaba Ninda. So
Ninda,
it's Gaba
sorry.
G-A-B-A.
Yeah.
So it's Gaba Ninda.
Yeah.
And
Ninda.
Ninda is like Nara. So there's an N-G-I-N-D-A, Gaba Ninda. So I'm not saying it properly, but Gaba Ninda, that means thank you. And then we say Yalu, see you later. So that's Y-A-A-L-U. Yalu, see you later. And that's in Gamilaroi. And then we say Bonawapa. So we say Nara, hello, or Arau. There's two lots of languages for Kabi. And then to say hooray, we go Bonawapa and see you later in Kabi language. Yeah.
And in Darug, it's Yanu. So that's really close. Yanu is goodbye.
Yanu, there you go. And that's exactly right. All the language comes back to an ancient language, which is an ancient sound, and it has got that ancient frequency to it, regardless of how it's spelled. But if you really go into it and you go back to the old people that can speak it, like the Larrakia fellas can do it, Central Desert, it flows and it comes right back to the back of the throat. And it has that frequency in it. So you fellas so everybody's graduating tonight. So I might stay on for a little bit. Is that all right, Kieran?
Absolutely it is. And you just do what you need to do. Aunty Dinnawhan, it's been an honour to listen to you and hear that, and to be reminded that country has your back. And so if we get to know country will have our back, and country will respond in our ecotherapy practice. It's so good to be reminded of that, isn't it? Isn't it? Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Thank you so much. Yeah, my daughter's on Gamilaroi country, so I'd like to learn a bit of Gamilaroi as well.
No.
Okay, well, can I just check in? For some reason, I can't see the whole of my screen. I can only see half. Is there anyone in the waiting room? Can anyone see that? I'm so concerned that Esmeralda is trying to get in, because she was going to acknowledge all of you and do a beautiful acknowledgement of all of the graduates. Can anyone see if she's trying to get in?
Can't see.
No. Okay, I really hope she's not trying to still get in, though I see half her name on my screen. You're not there, Is? Can you hear us? If you are, just checking in. All right. So just looking at the time, we're an hour in and we've got a few things to get through. We're just going to invite, I'm just going to say a couple of words, and then I'm going to invite the response from some of you who have offered to, I know Emily's going to say something. If she can get on, is going to do a poem, and Catherine. Catherine, do we still have you there? Wonderful.
Karen, I've just put a message in the chat. Unfortunately, I need to go. So I just wanted to wish everyone well, and yeah, I look forward to watching the recording another day for the rest of tonight. So congratulations, and thank you, Aunty Dinnawhan. That was such a beautiful connection to country. Thank you.
Really was. It really was. Go well, Catherine. Go well.
Thanks, Karen. Take care, everyone.
So just sort of changing gears a little bit from that beautiful connection that is Aunty Dinnawhan, or from what I experience of her, she is a connection to country. I was at a collective intelligence conference this morning. It was a global conference. It's starting really early to get the whole of the globe in. And they said a couple of things that really resonated with me for so I had another thing prepared, but I changed it all because I heard the conference. But they were talking about, they sort of gave me an idea of what ecotherapy is in different words. So if someone asks you, what's an ecotherapist, or why are you studying ecotherapy, or, you know, what is ecotherapy? You know, here's a couple of suggestions from the conference this morning. We are community animators of healing. Just going to let that land with you. Going to throw another one at you. We are ecological imaginaries, sparking ecological imaginations. We are collective ecological intelligence designers. Don't know if you like that one. Having fun with words here. We are curators of organic intelligence, aka intuition. Do you like that one? Or we are consciousness technicians. So some of them are a bit technical, but can you just give me an indication? I'll read them again, and put your hand up if that's the one that you like or resonate most with, would you? And if you resonate with all 5 of them, or none of them, that's okay too. And this includes you too, Aunty Dinnawhan, because you do this work all the time. So let me know if you're responding to a community animator of healing. Good body language, Emily. I'm reading that. Sharmila, thank you. What about ecological imaginaries? You're responding to a couple of you, couple of thumbs up. Thanks for that. Collective ecological intelligence designers. It's a bit wordy, isn't it? But we're also having fun and playing with words at the moment. Curators of organic intelligence. Yeah, a couple of you. Yeah, good. Or consciousness technicians. My dog came up and is responding to that. I don't know if you can see her. She's just coming to say hi and responding to that one, aren't you, Grania? So we welcome in the canine presence here. I don't know if you're a cat or a dog or birds around, but she responded to that one. How are you, Joe? Feel free to put your camera on if you want, if you're there. So yeah, I just thought I'd have us play with that. So they're talking to educators of collective intelligence, and they're also talking a lot about AI and how to mitigate that. But I also thought some of those words and resonate. So have fun with that. So if someone asks you, what's an ecotherapist, or what do you do if you're an ecotherapist, you can say those things. And if you've got any more, either put them in the chat or share them on Mighty Networks or whatever. You know, we're just playing with words here, but there was some resonance there. That's wonderful. Okay, Emily, it'd be wonderful to hear from you. You've offered to say a few words and read something, I believe, as a response, as a graduating response. And 3 years has been your journey, I think. So it's a big one.
Yeah, thanks, Karen. So as Karen said, at 3 years, I've been on this part of the journey anyway for 3 years. It's gone a little longer than I had anticipated. I got unwell at the end of last year and missed the residential, and then kind of have struggled for various reasons this year, but have got to the end. It's interesting how in some ways profound the final module was in its simplicity, in helping to round out this part of my ecotherapy journey. It's been a very personal journey for me, but you know, in an interesting kind of wrap up, the last couple of articles that I did in reflecting back at the very simplicity of our humanness connecting in with nature and remembering that we're part of it, has also given me some really insightful professional reflections as well. I work both as the CEO of Landcare NT, and I'm working to shift that organisation to think not so much about pulling weeds and planting trees, but in a much deeper way about how we have this reciprocal relationship, that the health of our landscapes and the health of our country reflects in the health of our humans. And so kind of there was some very final kind of deep reflections of some of the organizational and systematic work that I'm doing in an ecotherapy sense, as opposed to individual and group-based work. And I can currently work with what's called the Strong Women for Healthy Country Network, which currently supports 300 Aboriginal women that have a role caring for country. It started in the Indigenous Ranger space, but is now evolved to kind of more broadly support Aboriginal women in the Northern Territory who have a role and responsibility caring for country, which may see them in a community role or a healer role or an arts-based role. And I'm supporting that network in becoming its own Aboriginal corporation, and, you know, trying to unwind some of the systematic barriers that they face. And so whilst I've had, as I said, a very personal journey in communicating with some of those trees, the final reflections were about how I got to see my ecotherapy journey in a very in a way that was impacting in an organizational and systematic way as well. So that was pretty, it was delightfully profound. I felt like, you know, the simple aha moment at the very end, but, you know, understanding that whilst a lot of the work in the process had been about individual, small group, very, very kind of therapeutic type settings, actually this work can be done at a much bigger scale. And even just the other day, a Larrakia lady approached me about coming to work with Landcare NT and support the work in decolonising landcare. And I thought, oh shit, here we go. But, you know, that's, so it was a very profound kind of end. But just to kind of wrap it up, I was sitting with the gum trees out in Mataranka on the Roper River. And those white old trees do have something to say. I'm not sure if I can share an image, but to wrap up, those wise old trees said to me, it's time to finish and to end this stage, to fold in and to hold. You have expanded and grown. You have taken new in and transformed old ways. You've allowed change and conflict. You've held joy and wonder, as well as confusion and contempt. You've evolved and revolved and devolved and evolved. But all things must now pause. And this is now time to hibernate, to stew and brew on the learnings and your growth, to be still and to be free. Now you need to lean into the trust and to the oneness of being nature. You know now you can listen to us and speak with us and be one of us. Hey sis, we've got you. Like we know that you have got us. It's time for you to do the little things, the slow things and the simple things. The peaceful steps are what we all need now. So that was my final little communion with those gums out at the Roper River. And it just so beautifully gave me an end to this part of the journey. And yeah, thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, Emily. The trees really do have your back.
Would you mind me asking Emily something?
Sure.
Could you just tell me that was beautiful? So, oh my goodness, very deep. Thank you, and that beautiful connection. Could you tell me the women's group? I'd really be interested in that. That you're the women's range, and you said it sort of expanded.
It's
And
growing.
Yeah.
It's called the Strong Women for Healthy Country Network. We're currently auspice under Mimal Land Management Aboriginal Corporation, which is out of South Arnhem Land, Bullman, Catherine, Wimore Way.
Right.
But we're just
Strong Women for Healthy Country. And
Strong Women for Healthy Country Network.
Have you got a email for that?
I sure have. I'll put it in the chat. I'll give you my email.
Yeah, I can't get the chat done, and I'm not able to get it. But at the end of it, it's good. I don't want to interrupt what you guys. I just think, yeah, it's just beautiful what you fellas are doing. I mean, all of you is here. The depth of work that's involved in what you're doing. It's beautiful. I'd really like to sort of, if it's okay, to be a part of that at some stage.
Love you to be involved.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Lovely connections. Nature doesn't do anything in isolation. This is too big for any of us. We've got to connect. We've got to connect, and we've got to connect. I'm just, yeah. So Ez, are you there? No, Ez was going to read an incredible poem that she's written on the reflection of her 12-month journey and the certificate of ecotherapy. What I will do is ask people who are not, to put it onto Mighty Networks, which is this is our ecosystem, if you like, Aunty Dinnawhan, our online ecosystem. So at least you'll be able to access it there.
Thank you, Dawn.
And I'm just going to read a poem on behalf of Hongi Wong, who is also graduating from what was called the diploma, but is now called the advanced certificate. And he's also been on a 3-year odyssey, adventure from Singapore. Hongi shared at our last Zoom why he's doing ecotherapy, and how doing 2 years of mandatory military service to a very sensitive, highly sensitive, artistic, gentle man that Hongi is, if you've ever met him on Zoom, or and the trauma of that and how he survived was drawing trees. He shared so beautifully that his mother got him drawing lessons as a young boy, and he sat there and drew trees. And the connection he got from the trees helped him to survive the trauma of those 2 years where he had to be in military service. And he's a most wonderful educator as well, adult educator in Singapore. And I've worked online with some of his students, and it was just a wonderful experience. So Hongi, I know you'll watch the recording. Here is your poem, Unfurling. And this is about his journey with ecotherapy. One morning, I saw 2 pale green leaves stretching upwards in a pot of English ivy, pulling away slightly from those pretty variegated sisters. A mutation, I thought to myself, and I thought no more. Some weeks later, more pale leaves stood erect, somewhat out of place in that pot of pretty ivy. More time passed, and now the variegated leaves are wilting, drying up. Their pale green sisters continue to grow taller. The palmate leaves, now a pale, distant cousin of the shy green leaves that first emerged. And suddenly it comes to me. These are not mutated ivies. They are from the papaya plant, probably emerged from seeds hibernating in my compost, awakened by the sun and the water and the air. Their will to live so true and strong, it is a microcosm of all nature beings.
Beautiful.
It is beautiful, and it was beautiful to witness and walk alongside Hongi unfurling as he did in his ecotherapy adventure. And now Shamala, we'd love to have can I just introduce you, Shamala, just a couple of tiny words, or would you like to say something?
There you go.
Well, you can say something as well. Look, Shamala is part of the Joyality project, which does really wonderful eco-psychology and depth connection to invitations on the North Coast, but also all around. And this is her incredibly unique ecotherapy offering. This is the way Shamala's going to meet the world with her ecotherapy. And despite being really skilled at working with eco grief and eco anxiety, and really sensitive and feeling that from her love of the earth as well, Shamala is also inviting joy into that space alongside the grief. Shamala, you can say some more now.
Oh, thanks, Karen. Yeah, so we're going to try a little bit of Bollywood in the bush, and I developed this as to be like about an hour and a half workshop, but we'll just have a little 10-minute taster. But what I do, so I've got ancestors from the south of India, from Kerala, so learnt classical dancing for most of my life, and then I've got my father's side, he's got Scottish and Danish and English heritage, and Bollywood really is that kind of mix, that masala of all the different cultures. So it feels really, yeah, it feels like a good thing to do, and it's fun. So I'll just have to have a quick look at my notes here. Yes, so Bollywood in the bush, what it is, it's along the lines of what we do. So we talk a lot about climate change in my work, and we talk about well-being and building community, and we also talk about what climate action is in relationship to climate justice. So you may need to do the full workshop, but what I do is I do the Bollywood as a way to talk about these difficult things. So it's a form of what's sometimes called titration. So we can talk about serious things, but we're looking after our nervous system and our bodies by moving and connecting with the earth and connecting with each other. So yeah, that's sort of the basis of it. And yeah, ask me questions at the end if we've got a moment, but I think we just might get into trying a bit of it. And the other reason I like Bollywood too, it's kind of like the drama of our times. We were in kind of pretty dramatic times. And if you've ever seen a Bollywood movie, it's all that melodrama. And in the end, love prevails. So yeah, let's try it. So I invite you to stand up. And I'm going to teach you a few moves before we put the music on, so that you've got a bit of a head start. And also, part of what we teach is like taking action for the environment, whether that's through advocacy or yeah, maybe activism, or communicating about what's important to you, is also part of how we support our own well-being. So we've got this little dance here that we is sort of how we remember it is it was used at a blockade down near Byron in Wallam. So the very first move we've got is actually like a leaf. If you've ever seen a leaf kind of bouncing kind of in the wind. So we're like, see, here's our leaf here, and there's a leaf here, and we're just kind of bobbing away in the wind. That's our first move. And then I have to come up, this is actually just you're a cool DJ. Not sure how that fits in, but then you become a cool DJ. And then you circle around, your trunk circles around, and you look to that side, and you look to that side. And then you point at all the people and say, we know you all love nature. What are you guys doing with those bulldogs and stuff? We know you like nature too. So we point at them. And then we ask them we say, can't you see with the beautiful black cockatoos we've got here? And this is their crest. And we say, look at the beautiful black cockatoos. And they're like, can't you hear the birds? Can you hear the little froglets here? So then we do our ears. And then we say, oh, let's go for a swim down the creek. Feel all gorgeous as we go for a swim down the creek. And we put our hands up. And then there's another one. Open the door and go outside. Because we've got nature's just outside. All you have to do is go outside, and then you can go outside over here too. Get down at the feet on the earth. Your other foot's on the earth too. And then we do a bit of shimmying like a leaf. But I think you guys, you're doing really well. So I reckon we can do it with the music. So I'm going to put the music on, and we'll have a go. Just see how this goes. Oh, hang on. One more thing I do need to tell you, that the chorus is called Hug a Tree. And usually when we do this, the energy that we want to bring to it is like a really dear friend, and it might be a dear friend that's a tree. And so the chorus is we're hugging this tree, or it could be a friend, or it could be an animal, but that's who we like to dedicate the dance to. So just bring some, like a dear tree or a dear friend to mind before we start dancing, and I'll get the music happening now. So the first one. Well done. Yeah. Really well done. You've got the whole choreo.
Oh, that was so much fun.
Yeah.
Oh, we
I'm really
got
sweating.
kids and dogs. We got kids and dogs dancing. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks for being willing to give it a go. It definitely woke me up anyway.
Good,
So,
thank you.
Shamla, thank you. And so I can imagine this outside where you've got a bit of that music pounding and you're outside in the bush, quite literally, doing this. How is it different from inside on Zoom? I'm sure it's a world of difference in some ways, is it?
It's a world of difference. And yeah, when we've got time to kind of get inspiration from the country that we're on and connect to the country we're on, connect to the people who are in the group. And yeah, also have some sort of serious talk mixed up with the fun and the movement.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, it's a beautiful, thank you for doing it tonight. I know it's a bit difficult to just do a small segment and on Zoom, as you know, not in the bush. It's really, and yet it went off. It went off. You had kids and dogs dancing and people smiling, and it's also really appropriate for a celebration. This is a celebration tonight. This is a big recognition of the adventure, ecotherapy adventure you've been on, and that you're at the end of it. And so it's really, really appropriate that we celebrate. And I just love that movement. And I've never done Bollywood in my life before, but I just was loving it, really loving it. So Shamla, is it possible? Where can people kind of access this workshop?
Yeah, so we do also a full weekend retreat where we do bits and pieces of things like this as well with the Duality Project, and we're going to be doing another one in May in the Hunter Valley at Wongat Lodge. So there'll be some Bollywood there, and then yeah, at that time I might I'll do another one up around that area, just the Bollywood hour-and-a-half session. But yeah, I'll keep you posted. See how next year unfolds.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if the May one would fit in with the Sydney residential at any whenabouts in May?
That's a good question. I think it's early May, but I'll have to confirm that. I can't think right now, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's all right. The residential's late May, early June. So anyway, it'd be wonderful to have you there if it worked in for you. But we will get to that. So it's just a beautiful example of Shamla taking the ecotherapy learning that she's done and the growth and incorporating into the work. She's already doing ecotherapy, and she's already doing, you know, really connected in with a collective in that aspect. But she's really made this her very original, very authentic and very unique offering. You know, where would you get to do Bollywood in the bush? So it's a beautiful example of that.
Thanks, Karen. And I think the course helped me draw it all together and give you the confidence to kind of roll with it. So thank you.
Wonderful. Well, we've got a couple of new students here tonight. We've got students finishing a 3-year journey. It's a really big deal. It's amazing that I have offered this work to the world because I wish to support more people offering healing work of nature to the world at such times. You'll often hear me say at such times. So we'll bring it to a close. I'll say thank you to Aunty Dinnawhan. It was beautiful to have you stay with us for the whole thing. Very nice, and get a real sense of what we're on about. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Shamla, for that gorgeous little dance at the end to kick up our heels. Thank you, Emily, for your poem and your words. Thank you, Hongi. Esmeralda, if you're watching the recording, I'm so sorry we didn't get you, but please put your beautiful words into the Mighty Networks for people to see. And yeah, we will, we're kind of ending this year, but have a beautiful year end it restfully. And yeah, remember that nature has got your back. It's a reciprocal, it's a relationship, isn't it, Aunty Dinnawhan? It's a relationship.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank
Very
you
much.
all. And bid you good night.
Good night. Gaban in the Yalu.
Yalu.
Thank you.